Okay, well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, yesterday the Vice President declined to assent to four bills that had been forwarded to the presidency for the signature for it to become law. The Vice President had cited, a number of reasons. Um, Maybe the two main ones. One, certain constructions in the in the bill, one or the other. Um, well, the professor of law thought that there were issues with that, and perhaps they should take another look at it. On the one hand, on the other, matters of well, some related issues to one of the bills was in court at the moment, and so maybe generally they should take a look at it. Well, the National Assembly, for its part, has also said that maybe their legal departments should take a look at the bills and then advise them. But let's start off by giving you the background. Let's take the report as we've been broadcasting it in our news.
Pursuant to Section 58(4) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, I hereby convey to the Senate my decision to withhold assent to the Agriculture Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund Amendment Bill 2016, recently passed by the National Assembly. The reasons for withholding assent to the bill are the concerns surrounding board composition, funding arrangements, limitation of liability of funds, and proposals to increase level of uncollateralized loans from 5,000 to 250,000 naira.
We now have to scrutinize the reason given by the acting president for not assenting to the bills. Where the reasons are tenable, fine, we'll accept it. But where they're not, we may decide to say, if we can muster the two-thirds majority to override the veto. That is what the Constitution allows us to do. So the procedure is very clear.
Okay, the procedure indeed is quite clear, but there's another report.
You have just read to us communication from the acting president wherein he has withheld his assent to several bills that were forwarded to him by the National Assembly. Prior to this date, what we used to have was just quiet from the other side, not knowing what happens to our bills. The Constitution is very clear that where the president or acting president refuses to assent to a bill, the National Assembly can override such.
We now have to scrutinize the reason given by the acting president for not assenting to the bills. Where the reasons are tenable, fine, we'll accept it. But where they're not, we may decide to say, if we can muster the two-thirds majority to override the veto. That is what the Constitution allows us to do. So the procedure is very clear.
Okay, so that really is the universe of it. That's what we have on the ground now. My guest this morning, well, one of them, and thank you very much for coming on, Honorable Setonji David. He is of the Lagos State House of Assembly's Chair House Committee on Physical Planning and Urban Development. But coming from within a legislative house, this kind of a situation, in your house, have you ever experienced that, where the House sends a bill and the governor feels otherwise about it, or that is yet to happen?
Thank you very much for inviting me. We have never experienced that in Lagos State.
Okay.
I mean, all our bills are properly, they're discussed and the gray areas well handled before the House sent it to the governor. So we have never had a situation of this nature in Lagos State.
Now, these are amendments largely, and one catches my eye, my non-judicial, non-legislative eye, and that's the Currency Conversion Freezing Order Amendment Bill 2016. I imagine, a lot of it will be understandable. The law is the law. The processes and procedures are indeed what they are. But at this time, coming up with something like that, which must have no doubt been well researched by the House and included in the foursome, was this one about currency conversion freezing order amendment bill. A lot of Nigerians would probably want to bring a microscope to that one and say, now what are you guys amending there?
Well, we are in the State House of Assembly, so, and that aspect of our legislature or our laws is in the exclusive list of our constitution, and that tells us that it's precisely, it's the responsibility of the National Assembly to handle it.
Indeed.
So we are not in a position to talk about that. So, and this matter is being handled by the National Assembly, and in their wisdom, they have come up with a law, an amendment or whatever, to reflect the present situation of things in this country. So, and I think that's what they have done within the scope of their limits.
So stay with us, please. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. Okay, we've been joined by our second guest, and that's Mr. Dave Ajetumobi, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Indeed. Now you're joining with, we started off with Honorable Setonji David of the Lagos State House of Assembly. By now, the Vice President, acting president has, said that it's not quite ripe yet. It's not ready for assent yet, for reasons that have been given. And so they in the National Assembly, looking at the procedures, know that, look, give us another 30 days. If we don't get assent, then we can override it with a two-thirds veto. Do you see that happening?
I don't see it. Considering that there are a lot of political issues here, and there are a lot of realities here. Apart from the fact, when you look at the person that refused to assent to it, he's not just a politician. He's a professor of law and a legal practitioner. There are a lot of professors that are not practicing law. They are professors of law, quite all right. They know the theory. This man knows both the theory and the practical. If he raises an objection regarding an issue, it should be taken seriously. It should not just be taken with...
And in addition to, the point you make, apart from the key reasons as enumerated indeed by Senate President Saraki himself, I also read in one of the reports that the Vice President was concerned with issues of phrasing, words used, and that we might, in future, we can think about it now, but in future.
Yes,
so he has his misgivings and said, look, maybe we should just take another look at this.
Yes, I think the Vice President was very cautious the way that is expected of him by explaining those things. He's incumbent. I like the way the Vice President said should be, the Senate President said it should be referred to their legal committee.
Yes.
Let those people, in the light of the observations of the acting president, let them look at it again. One of them, the lottery, somewhere, they said the matter is in court.
Indeed.
And if
the
we
National
have to
Lottery Amendment Bill.
Exactly. If we are to respect the judiciary, there should be nothing done in order to preempt whatever the court will come out with. Assuming they amend it now, the court can declare it because the matter is as at now sub judice.
Yes.
Such an amendment will be null and void. What will now be the effect on the reputation of the executive and the judiciary, and especially the acting president that happens to be a long-standing lawyer. So
he should know.
He should know better.
And if
let the judiciary carry out their own part of the
I wouldn't be
review.
surprised if, had the president been on seat, the vice president might have contributed advice towards this
Definitely,
issue.
before assenting any bill, the president will ordinarily refer to his deputy, who happens to be a lawyer. So ordinarily, when the judiciary comes out with their own final verdict, it will help the National Assembly to frame their own the law. You know, now in the U.S., for instance, they said Donald Trump is trying to review the ban in the light of the gray areas pointed out by the judiciary. That is the way it should be. It should not be that you should legislate even judiciary out of
Indeed.
the...
But
yes.
Okay, I also want to respond that as because I have a lot of respect for the vice president, I mean the acting president. The process of lawmaking in the parliament is very painstaking and meticulous, to the extent that these are the people representatives of the people. The executive arm of government have their aim or their objective, and we also have our process. So I don't want to agree based on what my colleague is saying, that as if the president or the acting president knows better than the National Assembly. There could be issues.
Yeah, but the National Assembly, at least speaking for the National Assembly, one of the legislators there said that, look, it's okay if this is what the vice president has done. We will forward it to our legal committee.
Yeah,
they'll take a look at it, and if indeed the vice president's reasons stand up, then so be it. But if not, it shouldn't be a problem. So they themselves are allowing. I mean,
no, obviously, when you reject a bill, I mean, they will look at it again. But if they are strongly convinced that what they have brought forward is in the best interest of the country,
of course,
yes, they will pass it by.
If it's in the best interest of the country, I don't imagine the president would have anything against it if it is in the best interest of the country. So I'm imagining that without wanting to get into it, just from the words that you uttered, the president, the National Assembly, and the judiciary, all of them must be for the best interest of the country. It's only when somebody now...
Let me say this.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. We have had cases, maybe not Nigeria, but in other climes, where the issue of veto, I mean, the president vetoed a particular bill, and two-thirds majority of the parliament passed the bill into law. So that means, what I'm saying is that it's not all the time that they work in consonance. If the people
with the interest of the country
believe strongly that this particular bill is better, is the best interest of the country, they will pass it. I'm not saying that they are working as cross purposes. No. But what I'm saying is that the parliament has the, I mean,
that's its function.
Yes,
that is its checks and balances. It's so that there shall be no field marshal, and democracy will be practiced. But we also need to say that this, by the way, is everyday democracy in action here. It's not special at all. This is the way it is. Most of the times, because of prior consultation, perhaps working together, these things are seamless. But perhaps when one side works, I don't know if to use the word, to the exclusion of the other, until the final presentation, say, there it is, can you please give us your signature? There might be a matter of, hang on, let me take a look at this.
For instance,
I imagine that's
in Lagos State, for instance, I mean, not even in Lagos State, there are 3 different processes of bills that are brought before the parliament. It could be from the executive exclusively, it could be from the member of the parliament, and even from the public. So if it emanates from the member of the parliament, of course the executive is not aware of it. We'll discuss in the parliament and pass it into law. Now, if you are convinced, for instance, the issue of Ajagungbale in Lagos State, I mean, emanated from the House. Yes, it wasn't an executive bill.
Yes. By the way, where has that gone? It's an interesting bill. That Amoniles, those people that.
It's a law today. It's a law today. The governor assented to it. It has become a law in this state.
And that was initiated by the House.
Obviously.
Yes. So, but maybe I was making
the issue is when it comes to issue of hard law. The House cannot be made up of purely lawyers. Even at NBA NEC meetings, you see how contentious issues can be there. We are all lawyers at the NEC meeting. You expected us to see things from this, but it can be, sometimes it can be so rancorous.
Yeah.
So we can't agree. And it is not really a particular arm of government that decide or determines what is in the best interest of the people. There are a lot of considerations that goes into considering what is in the best interest of the people. Yes, Lagos House of Assembly has some sort of homogeneous setting, but I remember there was a bill, a private bill that we sent to the House since last year. We believe it is in the best interest of the country. When the United Action for Change submitted that, the whistleblowers, nothing has been heard about it, and the president has, when he couldn't get it through the National Assembly, or is waiting for National Assembly to take action, he has by executive action put it into use, and we see the result is yielding at national level. We submitted a draft bill on whistleblower at the Lagos State House of Assembly. Up till now, to the speaker, no. So when you talk of
and yet that honourable is in the best interest of the people.
Of the country
and the country.
But it may not be in the best interest of the ruling class. When it comes to best interest of the country, it does not lie in a group of elected people or a group of political pundits to determine. It is the public that can determine ultimately what is in there.
Obviously, but nobody has monopoly over ideas.
No, of course not.
If you submit a bill, especially what you're talking about, it's a national issue. If you're blowing a whistle in Lagos State, and the other, I mean, the thing affects somebody outside Lagos State, how do you treat that? Are you getting what I'm saying? I mean, you're blowing a whistle in Lagos State of somebody who was in Lagos but has left after. It's very rancorous if only Lagos State government, or Lagos State House of Assembly passes that law.
Okay.
That's why we are expecting the national one, which overrides, the state's laws.
Okay.
So, we are expecting the National Assembly to resolve. That's not to say that we are not handling it in the state.
Okay.
Because we have not seen it becoming a law does not mean we are not working on it.
Let's do another quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. Democracy in practice. National Assembly sent 4 bills to the presidency. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has declined to give signature to them, citing reasons. The long and short of it must be that he is not persuaded that this is the best that these bills can be. So we're talking about that. It's democracy in action. It's pretty routine. It's normal fare. But then, Mr. George, good morning and thank you for holding on, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guests.
Good morning, Mr. George.
Uncle Yori, I'm happy. It's good that we have the type of vice president that we have, who is meticulous and is very vast in legal issues. The type of National Assembly that we have, one has to be careful about the type of bills they send for assent. You are aware that not long ago, we heard that the National Assembly have been trying to pass bills to weaken the powers of the president. For example, they are saying they are making a law that the Code of Conduct Bureau should now be under the National Assembly. I've never seen where that has happened, that a judicial institution will be under the control of the legislature. I've never heard of it in any country before. Several bills are being aimed at incapacitating the president and weakening him. So it's good that the vice president is very meticulous and he's looking at it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. George. But I think one of the points you made, I think, are you taking an exception?
Magistrates are an adjunct of the judiciary. They are appointees and staff of Lagos State Judiciary. So to say that that is the first attempt, maybe will be as a result of lack of information. It has been attempted in Lagos before, but it was stoutly.
That is the point he was making, I think.
He said that this CCB was the first in Nigeria.
No, that if it were to be so,
yeah.
If they were to have their way,
that is
then
why
it would then be a first. That is not aware of anywhere where it obtains.
We should just be careful in respect of whatever law being proposed by the current National Assembly.
This is exactly Mr. George's point.
Because if they had done their homework, they would have discovered that the provisions of Code of Conduct Bureau Act were actually copied from the Constitution. And there's no way you can amend the act without amending the Constitution. After wasting all the time and taxpayers' money, they discovered that it was actually
an exercise in futility.
Exercise in futility. That is why if anybody vetoes the bill, any bill passed by this National Assembly, public should have restraint in criticizing such veto without
well, it's also shown the side of the divide that you yourself are on when you voice that sentiment. But let me take Mr. Aro calling in from Lagos. Good morning, sir.
Hello, Mr. Aro. Good morning, sir.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Are you hearing me, sir?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And good morning to my two gentlemen there.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, concerning this issue of Mr. President's refusal to attend to CZP. Number one, Mr. Ori, if I can ask, what are we into in this country? Are we saying that that no longer having regard for the judiciary again? Because they now say that, according to what Melai said this morning, Melai now said that normally, if such what I presume is the way I presume it is that when a bill like this is returned from a legal icon, what they should have done is they should have sit down, organize themselves, pass this thing to their legal department, let them go through it again before they now come out to now make a public statement. Because what I can assume is that the pronouncement by Melai this morning. It's supposed to have come out to say that by the time this thing must have gone through, if Mr. President should refuse attending to it, by they will now pass the bill direct. To me, it's not supposed to be have done it. They shall sit down.
Mr. Aro, so that I can get you clearly, do you understand and support the Vice President's declining to sign or not? I want to. Do you understand it or not?
Please come again. I'm not hearing you, sir.
And so, which side are you on? Are you on the side of the National Assembly on this, or on the side of the acting president on this?
The issue is that I am on the side of Mr. President of Mr. President, not signing what he feels.
Okay.
Does not want signing.
Thank you very much for that clarification, sir. Thank you very much. So it goes back to, again, we have to emphasize, just in case there are 2 or 3 people that didn't know it, that this is democracy. This is how it works.
Exactly.
This is normal.
There's nothing abnormal about it.
Yes, there's nothing abnormal about it. No. It is not all of them that are seamless. It's only those that have been, thoroughly, even Obamacare, we saw the wahala on that, and you can see Trump working, around the clock to repeal it, which was a campaign promise.
I want to emphasize one thing, and that is that one of the greatest challenges we have in this country is that we tend to strengthen individuals, whereas it is the institutions that are much more important. We tend to, give power to the president or to the governor to do all sorts of things at the detriment, because human beings, we are human beings. It could get to a point, if you have a dictator as the president, or whatever.
But we can't have that in a presidential system.
We can. If you if you want to see everything I mean, like somebody was mentioning the fact that they want to take the power of the president to the House. It is better for the parliament to be strengthened because the parliament is made up of the representatives of the people, so that whatever appointment, as quick as possible, whatever appointment to be made by the executive should be, with consonance with the approval of the parliament. Well, you were mentioning something about this issue of code of conduct or whatever.
Yes.
Those things should be, the parliament should have a say.
Okay.
If not,
the parliament should have a say. That's exactly how the presidential system is designed and how we're working it. And that's why I've said it for about 3, 4, 5, 6 times this morning, that there's nothing unusual about this. This is indeed how it works. But we can now look at the particulars and say, what are we talking about here? Why? And we've had the reasons as to why. Mr. Afolayan, thank you very much, sir, for holding on. You're in Badagry. Go ahead now, sir. Well, we lost Mr. Afolayan there. When you made the point that we have to be careful about not over-strengthening the president's hand, well, yeah, but he still is in charge. And so we can't have a situation where there's a president who has an agenda, who has promises, who has a job to do, and then you have an obstructionist institution. I was careful not to say State House of Assembly or National Assembly. Then you have some obstructionist institution. This can happen for political reasons. And that, I suppose, is where the rub
like we
really
saw
is.
it in U.S., Obama and the Republican House.
So it's like the beauty of this, of democracy, and in particular the presidential system, over expensive as it is, and that's another discussion, is that no one person can say, I have spoken and that's the end
Correct.
of it.
Yeah. Correct.
Everybody has to, well, especially between the legislator and the executive, and where there's any hour about the matter, then the judiciary steps in to interpret.
Absolutely.
And say, okay, guys, this is how it is, and everybody has to live with that. Mr. Abdullahi is calling in from Niger State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle.
Thank you very much for calling in.
You're welcome. My contribution is that, to me, as Vice President, it's right for not signing the bill, because he's yet to be in the power. That is one. And two, the president who is either is not yet around. So it's better for consultations. And we all know the National Assembly are having their own interest. They always push on, that is to forward their own everything, in which don't look at the masses. And the president, the acting president now, is battling. He has fixed this country in the absence of president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm afraid that line wasn't very kind to us. I had a big difficulty understanding, but I wonder if he said something about, fortunately, we have a vice president who, I'm speculating. Did you hear him any better?
What I heard was that he shouldn't have signed it because the president was not around.
Oh, no. Okay. On that point, if he made that point, then, Mr. Abdullahi will no doubt find out in due course that that's not
be vacuum.
That's not the case.
Yes. And I'm sure that the vice is working in tandem with the president.
He must be working in tandem with the president. And this goes back to what we've already spoken about. The president is away, but he's away and is on ground, Gidigba. He's done all that needs to be done, so the vice president is fully in charge. And there's no issue. That is why if they had met with his satisfaction, no doubt he would have signed them. Someone else is on the line. Good morning, Yakub. Mr. Yakub is calling from Dokwemu.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning to your two guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Kijori, let me begin by saying that one of your guests, the gentleman at the left, is trying.
The legislator or the lawyer?
No, I mean the one on white.
That's the legislator.
Exactly. He's keeping telling us that the Senate and House of Representatives are representing the whole Nigerian.
Yes.
Yeah, I dare to disagree, sir, for one reason. The reason is this.
If they're representing all of us, I can tell you that the Mr. President and the Vice President, acting President today, is representing the whole Nigeria. That is it. Because it's representing the whole Nigeria for our sake.
But
that is number one.
But Mr. Yakub, we can't reinvent the wheel. These things are like set pieces. In soccer, you have set pieces. You can't do it any other way. This is the way it also works here.
Surely, I understand. But I want to tell you, sir, I totally support acting president of what he did. You know why? What about if he signed that law, and then tomorrow somebody like activist, a lawyer, or somebody as a lawyer picked it up and went to court, and then the court finally aside and set it aside? What will happen? So it is not good for them. It's even helping them for sending that bill back to them, for them to take a second look, and then returning the bill to him. So, but for them to say they will override him in and all that, I don't think it is comfort. Thank you and God bless you.
I think it will not be fair on the National Assembly to say that they said they will override it. That is Dino Melaye. Dino Melaye is known for what he is. He's not speaking for the National Assembly.
Obviously.
Because we know his reputation. So it is not fair on the National Assembly to say whatever Dino says binds the National Assembly. I watched the Senate President saying that we will refer this issue to our legal committee to advise us. And I believe that is the highest authority in the National Assembly.
And that is
any other person is ranting.
Okay. Stay with us. We'll just take a last break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Home stretch now. My guests this morning, you got Barrister Dave Ajetumobi and Honorable Setonji David of the Lagos State House of Assembly. So technically, Honorable, the situation we have now, it was just between yesterday and today, is that, okay, the Vice President has declined to assent his signature, which he could have as the acting President. And now the Assembly can represent it, right? Can represent it, or what happens? They can just take note of the fact that it has been, the presidency has declined to sign it, and just wait for it to mature, for the time period to mature, and then it becomes law by default.
No, if since the president
with two-thirds majority, of course,
the president has sent it back. I mean, without ascending to it. Now, the House or the Parliament will now look at the areas he mentioned. If they feel very strongly that those areas are not enough for them to change their mind,
yes, then
they can pass it into law. I mean, that is
but because this is
majority,
indeed. But
if they believe that there is need to make amendments,
of course,
to those areas
to make them satisfactory,
after re-examining
yes,
the issues raised by the Vice President or by the acting President,
yes,
because they can make amendments and return it to him to sign.
Because generally speaking, laws are not made for one individual. They're made for all of society. And I imagine it's only when there are concerns that even with that intendment, I borrow the word of lawyers, I'm always bemused when I come up with words like that. Even notwithstanding whatever the intendment was of the constructors and the makers of the law, if it is probably felt by one party or the other that this is probably, is probably favoring some people, or it creates a loophole like this, they will voice those concerns, so that other people can, other legal minds and legislative minds can take a look at it and know where we are. So that's democracy in process. Mr. Shegun, one moment, sir, you have a chance to respond. Mr. Shegun is calling in from Ikorodu. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Yes. All I just want to say is that there is no big issue in this thing we are discussing. At all. The man, the acting president, is a lawyer, a senior lawyer, a professor. And then the Senate president has done the exactly right thing by referring this thing to the Judiciary Committee. I yet be ranting this man called it Senator, this Malaye, even his disposition in that National Assembly it's bringing source to this country. He'll be talking as, look at the way what he did the other time, and he's talking, is it the Senate President? And then to my honorable from
Lagos.
You see, the advice we all voted for you. When you count all your votes together and you count that of the governor, you know they are very close. The governor is representing everybody. In National Assembly, you, the legislators, when you are doing something, you say nobody can probe you. You probe yourself, you be the judge over your own case. But now when it comes to the president that has power over the country, then you people will be trying to judge as if you are supreme and other things. I believe what the vice president has done, he has done a right thing, and nobody should rush him in signing anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, so that we don't give the wrong impression, we've been hearing some truths that the vice president is a teacher of law. He's also a practitioner of law. Indeed, beyond being a teacher, he's also a professor. Now, all of that is the truth, but that's not the reason why this was sent back. He could have been a medical doctor. There will be advice. The vice president no doubt must have got advice, or he himself, as we said, being a teacher of law, maybe he can quickly grab hold of certain facts much easier than other people. So I just wanted to bring it out.
Some of these laws are actually amended law. When you look at law in court, when you want to interpret the law, you look at the mischief sought to be rectified by that law. I think it is incumbent on the vice president to look at the status quo ante, the state of that law before, whether there's anything actually wrong.
Indeed.
By the time you now compare the old law and the amendment being proposed, you now know that there's more to this thing than meets the eye. It's a simple thing. You don't even need to be a professor of law to know that.
Exactly. Also, because one didn't want to give the impression that because the vice president is a professor of law, therefore nobody should talk again when he's talking.
Like I said earlier, that the process of lawmaking is very,
it's cumbersome.
There are experts, there are legal luminaries working with the assembly.
Indeed.
That they know what it's not that we are just, there are drafters, there are lawyers, there are...
Somebody like the vice president in his time might have even been consulting for
Christopher for 8 years.
Yes. Christopher, good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Chief-Yori, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My barrister, well done, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chief-Yori, my happiness in what is going on now with the acting president is that it's not that romance of the state governors and the House of Assemblies, whatever the guys bring to the everything, Huro. So I'm happy with this vice president. And for the Senate, Saraki himself, thank God for his life. He had to send it to a committee who will look into whatever the vice president. So it shouldn't be that anything goes with this acting president. So I'm really happy.
Indeed.
If you're please, I always tell you, whenever I see you, I feel like you are the Attorney General of this country. In this corruption area, I know you will do better for us. I know you are not a lawyer, you don't have to, but please, whenever I see you, I wish I had the power to make you the Attorney General of this country. I will do that.
Okay then, thank you very much, Barrister Christopher. I thank you. So we are actually privileged to be seeing democracy in action, and that is the point here. Really, there's a sense in which that's what we're celebrating. It's not always that you get an opportunity. Sure.
I want to put an impression that the House of Assembly, just pass anything that is brought to it.
No, we don't think so. It's a rubber stamp.
Okay.
No, it's not a rubber
Far
stamp.
from it.
No.
For instance,
did anybody? Nobody suggested that.
I thought the guy was insinuating.
No.
Even if he were to insinuate it, we'll throw it out immediately because we're not here to deride the honourable members who are doing a real important job.
Hold public hearings, call
exactly.
interest groups.
But nevertheless, you have become the whipping boy. Just like the presidency itself will become the whipping boy when somebody is hungry. So Remy is calling in from Osun State. Good morning. Can you hear us? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm in support of what the acting president has done. It's not just going to rubber stamp anything that the House passed to him. So he has to look at it critically, get his advice before signing any bill, which is the right thing to do. So I support the acting president for declining.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for contributing.
We should also commend the Senate President for not taking it as a confrontation.
No, because they are professionals.
Exactly.
These guys are professionals.
Yeah,
so they have to behave in a professional
win-win
manner.
situation.
And then we actually saw it. We saw the civility.
Yes. Exactly.
No tantrums, no emotions, no threats.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of
democracy
and separation of power, especially in the presidential system we are practicing.
But don't let's get carried away. It's not as if this is what it's like every day.
No.
Because when you say, sir, that's the beauty of democracy, come on, let's not get carried away. Because the honorable legislators up and down the land, right up to the National Assembly, oftentimes between we, the public, and they themselves, their honorable selves, we have disagreements.
Yeah, obviously. It's still part of
I remember in this current administration in the U.S., they want to repeal Obamacare. The senators were sent to their constituents. The ones I watched, they were hacking the senators.
Yes.
That is meeting your constituents. Do you support this? I believe ordinarily the opinion of the constituents should reflect in the eventual decision. That's beauty.
The presidential system is very participatory when it is not skewed against us, the people. At which time it can be one of the most tyrannical systems in the world. So everything depends on the intention.
It's never skewed against the people. You know why?
It depends on the country you are talking about.
The members of the parliament are the representative of the people.
Okay.
They elected them to go and represent them. Not all the people will come to the House of National Assembly.
Yes, you're very right.
Have to elect one point.
Indeed.
So it's never skewed against anybody.
In Nigeria, if you talk of Gambia, where the assembly elongated the tenure of the president, so you know.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We've run out of time. Barrister Dave Ajetumobi and Honorable Setonji David from the Lagos State House of Assembly. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's a pleasure.
We'll be back tomorrow with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.